Business structure is one topic that every time it is brought up in a conversation, it sparks a lot of talks, a lot of, oh, I can relate kind of reaction. And I get it because when there is no structure, a lot of things will go wrong in your business. So many people probably even have a structure. There's something we don't say enough. There's actually bad structure and there is good structure. So many people have a structure, but that structure is bad. So the question now is, how do you really create business structures that works for real? Not just creating structures and you're still feeling overwhelmed, you are still drained, you still have a lot of things to navigate. The truth is that we have so much happening in our lives. Your business is not the only thing that you're doing, right? So being able to put proper structures in place that not only gives you time freedom, but also gives you freedom to scale. Because a lot of people always tie structure to, oh, freedom of time, but that's not true. Structure is not only tied to freedom of time, it should also be tied to scalability, right? So with the proper structure, you'll be able to scale. And this is a conversation that we don't have enough. So I'm going to be sharing with you what a bad structure would look like and what a good structure that actually works look like. And we're going to be focusing on the business aspect of things. And I will do like a lot of real life examples using my own business and how I've been able to build structure to walk you through this process. So while we are into it, if you want to get like a detailed breakdown of how I do my structure behind the scene, even for my life and the business, I have linked a video here. You can go and watch it and use that to get like a detailed insight. So we did like a 3 hours training on that. So now let's get into the structure conversation for businesses. What is a bad structure like? So a bad structure would be you just saying, okay, I'm overwhelmed, I'm burnt out, let me just hire people who can save me from the overwhelm. So you go out there, you write a list. Oh, I need a graphic designer, I need a video editor, I need a social media manager. And then you put out the application and you hire the graphic designer, social media manager, or maybe even a strategist, and you just bring them up on your team and you're like, okay, let's get to work. Then people come into your team, they don't have anything in place to help them work. Or maybe you just tell them, oh, this is what the brand is about, this is what we'll do, that's what we'll do. Oh yeah, let's get to work. There is no detailed like day-to-day or week-to-week plan or a structure on how these people can work. So you just bring them in. So that is a bad structure. Now you would find out that you will have people in your team. You have people who are paying every month, but you still feel overwhelmed. In fact, you are 10x overwhelmed than how you were before you even hire those people, because now you are not only thinking about yourself, you're also thinking about these other people that you've hired that are not doing their job, and it's stressing you out because by the time the month ends, you also have to pay them. So that is bad structure. Now, how do you build a good structure in this kind of situation that actually works? One thing I want to say is when you are considering structure, business structure to be specific, you first of all identify the areas in your business that actually moves the needle for your business. So what are the things that that moves the needle in your business? So even if you're a one-man person, by the time you're able to identify this thing, you'll be able to now see if the overwhelm you're feeling is actually because you need a team or not. Or maybe you're feeling overwhelmed because you don't actually have a structure and you're all over the place, right? So how do you now create a good structure in the scenario and the example that I have used? The first thing is to identify the key area, like I said, that moves the needle in your business. So what are the things that will make your business work? So for example, marketing is one key area. I don't think any business can live and breathe without marketing, because how do you get in new clients? So if you don't want to call it marketing, it will be okay, getting clients into the business shop, getting people to pay you money. That's revenue, right? So marketing and revenue, how do you make money? So marketing and sales and revenue in one place, how do you make money? So that's one aspect. Another aspect is, how do you spend money, right? How do you spend money? What do you do with the money that's happening in the business? How much money is coming into the business? That's finance. You need to be able to identify that area. Under marketing, we have other things, but I like to split marketing even into subs. So under marketing, you have like social media. Social media is one way where we can get new people into the business. Email marketing, that's if you're using emails. WhatsApp marketing if you're using WhatsApp. YouTube if you're using YouTube. So you need to identify all the different areas where you show up in your business to attract people into the business. So you need to identify all those places and put them on the marketing. And then you have operations. Operations is basically, the different things that you need to do to put your business in place. So if you don't have a team, your operations could be like having a structured weekly review with yourself, right? Just to know if the finance, the marketing, everything is in check. Planning, what are you going to be doing, and then operations also covers all the back end things that you need to do for your business to run in the front end. Oh, do I need to set up a funnel? Do I need to do all my documentations, SOPs? What are all the back end things that I need to do? That is operation. For a business that runs physically, operations would even be more intense for that kind of business, right? You will include other things like, delivery, how do we deliver our clients' work, or how do we package orders, or how do we, what time should we come to the store, or what time do we open store, what days are we active, like those kind of things. Those are operations. Those are things you need to figure out in your business. So you actually need to sit down and figure this out. Yes, nobody will figure it out for you, but somebody can figure it out with you. Yeah, but nobody will figure it out for you. So you need to identify these areas. And what other areas as well? Do you clients? So your client is another pillar. We talked about bringing them in. So when you bring them in, how do you deliver? I call it client delivery workflow. So how are you going to be delivering results for your clients or for your customers? So you need to also identify that area. Now, if you've identified all of this area, let's say you identified these 4 key, I think these are like the 4 key areas in every business: your revenue and marketing and sales, operations, your finance, and then your client delivery or product delivery, depending on what you're selling. So it can be product delivery, client delivery, customer delivery, whatever thing you call it, but it just involves delivering on your promise on whatever thing that you're selling, that your service or your product. Those are like 5 key areas. And depending on the kind of business you run, those key areas can have grandchildren. They can have like sub under them. So that is where you will now determine the kind of subs you want to have for each of all of these categories. That's where you can now look and see if you actually need hands in your business or not. Now, let's dwell a little more on operations and marketing. I've gone in depth into this in the video that I just linked here, so you can go and watch the video where I share like behind the scene of how I actually set up my operations. So for marketing, one thing you need to understand for marketing and your operations, you need to have a centralized place where you put everything. Yeah, it could be like a Google workspace or a Notion workspace, but I preferably recommend Google Workspace. Have a Google Workspace where, like, I literally have titles and folders for everything in my business. So admin work, putting documentation, because it helps you stay organized. When you have a folder where everything is, so all the content. Some people, when they do content, they even hire content people and they'll just be sending the content on WhatsApp. And then when something happens to your WhatsApp, your message is clear, you don't have it anymore, you can't go back to it, you can't repurpose. So that means you have to keep creating fresh content over and over again. So you need to have a folder for content, have a folder for emails, have a folder for WhatsApp, have a folder for your ads, have a folder for YouTube if you do YouTube. So I literally have like folders for everything. Have a folder for your testimonials. So as you're getting feedback from your clients, you're uploading them into that folder, right? You're uploading them there and they are just going to be stored there on a cloud. All you just have to need is a Google account and your password. Just make sure you remember your password, and you can add your team members if you eventually decide to start hiring people. So once you have that centralized place, it is easier for you to collaborate. It is easier for you to look at your work and keep everything organized and always go back to everything that you've done in the past and just be able to repurpose for the long term. You don't lose testimonials, you don't lose things, and you not be all over the place. Not every time you want to do something, you're going to be looking for testimonials because you don't have it in a centralized place. Your team will be looking for you or something. So you have that centralized place. And then once you have that, you can also do the same for your clients. So for every client you get, you create a new folder that is called the client workspace. I have that as well. And you have that centralized place for every of your clients. You put their name, you put their folder, put their documentation, put their recordings and everything. You even give them access to it so that they will get access to that to be able to, until you deliver on the project or on the service or whatever thing. So this is mainly for people who do client work, like you offer services. If you don't even offer services, let's say you do, you ship stuff, right? You can still have a folder for your clients. That is just for only you to see. So that means you don't need to add your client. But if you do coaching, you can now add your clients so that they can see their recordings and their documentations for the strategy that you've created for them. But if you're not doing that, you can still create the folders for your own use. That way you're even able to keep track of all your clients over time, and you're able to still reach out to them or get their information if you need it in the long term. That's how you slowly start to create structure. Another key thing about client delivery is you can create your process from your onboarding to offboarding. What are the step-by-step things that I need to do? I call these SOPs. So you create SOPs for your client delivery. Then you now create SOPs for the different things that make up your marketing. So for emails, what are the step-by-step processes? How often are we going to send emails? When are we going to send emails? How many emails are we going to send? For content, you do the same thing. For videos, you do content and videos are together. You do the same thing for that. Then if you want to now hire team members, now before you hire team members, there are certain things you need to do to put in place. Don't just go and bring them in because you feel overwhelmed. You also need to create a system. That's where operations come in. Create a system that can help them actually deliver on the work. Yeah. So what are the systems that you need? One of them is the SOPs that I've talked about. You can either bring them in and allow them create the SOPs, or you can create the SOPs for them before you bring them in. Either ways, you have to have those standard operating procedures. SOPs means standard operating procedures of how you do things in your business. Then when you bring them into your business, before you bring them, you need to have responsibilities. Say you want to hire a social media manager. You need to document what their role is as social media manager, what is expected of them, what should they do. Now, giving responsibilities to people and identifying their responsibilities actually make them take responsibility. It's just like you have people on your team like, oh, okay, you're a social media manager, you're a content writer. And then social media manager does not have a clear description of their job. When it's time to create content, they'll be like, she will do it. He will do it. This person will do it. And then we are just all over the place. Everybody's waiting for who will do it. And at the end of the day, you find out that nobody's doing anything. And then the months will run out, nothing has been achieved because you've not been micromanaging them or saying, oh, Ada, do this one. Chine, do this one. Tolu, do that one. Oh my God. So it just creates chaos. So before you bring them in, identify what you really want them to do. Even if you want to bring a graphic designer, like my graphic designer, we have an agreement. How many posts are we making? Because my graphic designer is not full-time. It's actually like based on contract. So how many posts are we going to make, and I pay you this amount of money? The same thing for my video person. And we're very detailed on that. So on months when we don't have this number of designs or videos, I will not pay them for what we didn't do, because we already had that agreement. Like, it's not a full-time role. You just deliver on this number of videos and I pay you this amount of money. And that's it. So that also saves me as well in terms of structure. So these are like tiny things that you feel like don't really matter, that actually moves the needle and what makes your structure actually works. So now when you create this responsibility for your team or the people you want to bring in, you need to now walk them through your brand. Walk them through your folders, walk them through what your brand really is about. What's your goal? What are you envisioning for your brand in the next 1 year, in the next 3 months? All of these things should be documented. Don't just say it. Document it, have a session with them, record the session so that they can watch it. They can go and read it. And then you can even give them a code of conduct and a disciplinary measure. So these are part of operations that you need to set in place before you start bringing somebody on your team. Even if it's just one person or two persons, you need to have these things in place so that they'll start seeing your business as an actual business. I made a mistake when I started, hiring teams, even interns. I didn't do any of this, so they didn't see my business as a business. They just saw me as somebody showing up on social media. So anytime they will show up with me. Anytime they don't like, they don't show, them be like, oh, but so we do it. Oh my God, we do it. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. They were always, I'm so sorry, because they were not seeing me as somebody who was running an actual business. But when you have all of these things in place, they start to see your business as an actual business, and you give them responsibilities. So by every month, let them tell you what they're going to be achieving that month, what is the KPI we are tracking for that month, and what is the result we're looking at. Create your monthly strategy, create your weekly strategy, especially for people who work in marketing, like content, social media, whatever, emails. Let them have their monthly target. Even if it's YouTube, how many videos are we shooting in a month on YouTube? So if you don't shoot those videos in a month and they don't go out in a month, you know who to hold responsible. So these are things you need to document even in your SOPs, standard operating procedures. That's why I said you need to have all of these things in place before you even start bringing in anybody. If sometimes you can create it with the people you're bringing in, but it's always better to must have created at least some of these things to an extent before you start bringing people in. For my brand, we even have a centralized place where we communicate other than WhatsApp. So we have a platform where we use for our communication, we use for our video calls and all that, and all of those things are recorded and put in. And we have weekly meetings where we check in to ensure that everybody is on track and we are not just doing anything that we like, basically. So this is just like a summary of how you can build an actual business structure that works for real. Yes, that works for real. You need to look at your reality as a business and look at where you are. It's not just about going to say, oh, I want to hire somebody because I'm overwhelmed. I need to hire somebody. You need to even understand the kind of people that you need to hire before you bring them on board. Right. You need to understand. If you know you're a very busy person over one person, first of all, the first person that you need is an EA and an online business manager. You don't need a social media manager if you are very busy. You will need an EA and online business manager that will even manage the social media manager that you're going to be bringing on board, because you may not even have that time to look at anything or what's going on, or ensuring that these people are actually doing their job and making sure that they are getting to your goals every month. Then every month, let them know what your goal is for the business and let them see how they can help make your life easy. That's the purpose of having a team in the first place. So if they cannot do that for you, then you probably just be the one doing your thing yourself until you are able to find somebody who can do that, or until you're able to take time to build structures. So structure is very key. Building structure in your business is very key. It saves you a lot. It gives you time freedom, and it also gives you time to scale. Because now, when you have this structure and have all of these things, you'll be able to know if you have the capacity to take in more clients. You'll be able to know how many clients you are taking in. You'll be able to know if your team even have the power, the capacity to even handle clients. You'll be able to know the loopholes, the gap, and all of those things. You'll be able to even know where to fix, how, if they are really collaborating together as a team. So that's why structure is important, and I hope that you learn a lot from this video. And if you want to learn more about structure, I've done a detailed presentation, a detailed breakdown where I shared behind the scene. I shared my screen, showed you everything that I do in terms of structure, and I believe that that's going to really help you. So I encourage you to go watch that. And if you have any questions as well, you can leave them in the comments, and you can also like this video, share, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.